Hello! So in this video we're going to talk about Michael O'Brien's play Mad Boy Chronicle, which I'm once again reading out of The Shakespeare's Mine, edited by Rick Knowles. So Mad Boy Chronicle is a very, very cool Hamlet adaptation, because one of the things that O'Brien does is goes back to the sources that Shakespeare himself drew on for the Hamlet story, particularly Saxo Grammaticus, who was a Danish historian who wrote history, myths, and legends from Scandinavia, including the story of Hamlet, which is the Danish version of Hamlet. So Mad Boy Chronicle gives us a Viking version of the Hamlet story. And we have a number of major changes, but the central theme of revenge is still there. The idea of, in this case, Horvendal, Horvendal is O'Brien's Hamlet. The idea that he wants to... So, okay, I'll put it this way, in terms of plot summary. Horvendal is a Christian, and that's part of the reason at the beginning of the play that he's considered mad by the Vikings, particularly by Fengo, who's the Claudius of this play. Because Horvendal believes in a religion of peace, of mercy, of non-violence, forgiveness, etc., etc. Fengo and the other Vikings are like, he's nuts, whatever. Horvendal, at some point, goes out to walk to Jerusalem, which is not that easy to do from Denmark. And the ghost of old Horvendal appears to him and is like, "Revenge me!" And young Horvendal's like, "No, I'm a Christian." And old Horvendal's like, "Fucking go do it. Go revenge me." And young Horvendal's finally like, "Fine, I will go revenge you." So he goes back, he pretends to be insane. Fengo is not really all that chill with having him in the court, but, you know, he's like, eh. Because Gertrude, who is obviously Gertrude, Horvendal's mother, is like, "No, my son is mad. We must keep him around." So that's going on. At the same time, you have Lilia, who is this play's version of Ophelia, and she's got a tense relationship with Matthias, who's her father, who's basically a dick to her. Lilia becomes a Christian, following Horvendal's example. And the thing is, their version of Christianity, each of the characters who becomes a Christian, their version of Christianity in this is a paganized version of Christianity. So, like, Horvendal accepts the charge to go back and take revenge from his dead father, who's like, "I've gone to Valhalla, and now I've come back to get you to take revenge for me. I'm hanging out with Odin." And young Horvendal's like, "Yeah, I feel like Jesus would be on board with this," basically. Lilia, when she becomes a Christian, she becomes a sort of vengeful Christian. And this is actually not that much of a stretch, because, of course, Christians persecuted pagans. I know Christians love to think of, like, oh, back in the early Roman days when Christians supposedly were fed to the lions and things like this. But by 999, which is when this play takes place, Christians were the dominant group in Europe. And in places like Scandinavia, like the Baltic states, where there were still pagans, Christians did go on crusades and brutalize pagans to try and force them to convert. So we have that element. So Lilia gets this sort of religious zeal where she determines that she wants to, at the very least, kill Fengo, if not wipe out all of the Vikings. Horvendal goes back at some point and fights Fengo, despite Horvendal being like, no, I'm a Christian, I'm not going to fight. At some point, he and Fengo just get into a brawl, which Horvendal, for some bizarre reason, wins, even though Fengo is this really accomplished warrior, and Horvendal's like a scrawny 14-year-old who's never fought anybody before. But so Horvendal starts like cutting Fengo up, and then then Fengo's like, Jesus help me, and some priests show up, and they're like, hey, we want to talk to the king of the Danes, and Fengo's like, right here. And they're like, great, we want to convert everyone in Denmark, starting with you. And Fengo's like, well, Horvendal, it's been great getting cut up by you, but now I'm going to go get converted to Christianity. And Horvendal becomes a Christian. Again, a very paganized version of Christianity, where basically nothing changes except they take down the shrine to Odin, they take down the statues of the dragons' heads, and they put up these sort of cheaply made crosses in their place. But other than that, Fengo's pretty much still a Viking. Horvendal and Lilia run off together. Lilia finds out that Horvendal did not actually kill Fengo, at which point she loses her shit, takes his clothes, his sword, and goes off. At which point she gets ambushed by Ragnar, who's her brother. Oh, Lilia also murdered their father, by the way. So Lilia murders Matthias. Just a heads up. Ragnar, seeing Lilia in Horvendal's clothes, ambushes her and murders her, and then tries to pin it on Horvendal. And then the play basically ends when Horvendal sneaks into the funeral for Lilia, steals Ragnar's sword, murders Ragnar, tries to murder Fengo, and then gets murdered by a bunch of Vikings and also the Christian priest. And Fengo is basically like, yep, Jesus saved me. I, Fengo the Confessor, which is the name that he takes, which is kind of a good name, I think. I, Fengo the Confessor, am clearly beloved of Jesus. So, it's a cool play. It's a weird play. Let's see. So I already covered that bit. I was going to read you the opening bit that really sort of shows the Viking setting, but you think you get the picture. So there's some of the weird religious stuff I want to talk about here, because again, this is a very odd version of Christianity. This is a version of Christianity understood and filtered through Norse paganism and a warrior society. So in the fourth scene, Horvendal is walking through the snow to try and get to Jerusalem. And he says, Jerusalem, I can see it now. Gilden it is, risen up to the sky. Soon I'll be there in front of Jesus' fireplace, away from Helsingør. That's the name. Elsinore in Shakespeare is Helsingør in this version. Away from Fengo. There it is, just the other side of that forest. Come in, Lord Christ, come in, I'm coming. He trudges on. Jesus, this icy lake goes on and on. How far away is this place supposed to be? The dialect is also really weird here. So, like, he does actually say asposed. A-S-P-O-S-D. So, there's that. Weren't there a star or summit hanging over Jerusalem? All these friggin' stars, they look the same. Christ, Lord Jesus, is you a heedin' me? Is you real, as your holy book says? Lift me up and fly me to your home. He pauses, and a wolf howls. Hey up, Jesus, I done befaithed in you. You gots to do me miracles. That's the deal. Jesus, Jesus, Holy Lord Christ. You's gots to give me a guide or something, Jesus. Hello, Lord Jesus. So we've got this idea, and this is an interesting idea, that actually, I think is not that far off what many Christians functionally believe. This idea that, Jesus, I done befaithed in you, you gots to do me miracles, that's the deal. This idea that, faith is transactional in some sense, is very, very interesting here, because it characterizes both Horvendal's faith and later Fengo's faith. But Horvendal does not walk to Jerusalem. He is interrupted when the ice bursts open. The ghost of the dead lord rises up from the lake. He is 12 feet tall, roaring and chanting, brandishing his sword, surrounded by giant wolves, which is enough to interrupt anyone's trip to Jerusalem. So the ghost says, Horvendal, beloved of Thor, child of murder, child of war, hear ye not the spirit's cry? Look into thy father's eye. Horvendal, look upon thy destiny. And basically the ghost of old Horvendal gives the sort of Hamlet exhortation, murder most foul. In this case, though, Fengo crushed old Horvendal's skull with an anvil, so slightly more graphic than he poured some poison in my ear. But there's an interesting thing here, because at one point the ghost says, You seen me bloody murder, son, quit your hidin', quit this childish sealin' of your soul. You weren't yet 7, hidden in a tree. You seen me die, son, quit blocking it out. And later, Horvendal makes the same claim to Fengo, that he witnessed the murder. Now that's really interesting, because in Hamlet, one of the major themes is Hamlet's doubt about the veracity of the ghost's testimony. But if Horvendal himself witnessed Fengo murdering his father, then that doubt is erased. So that's a really interesting change that O'Brien makes. The other thing I want to talk about... Oh yeah, the other thing I want to talk about is Christianity and the proofs that are offered for Christianity in this play. Not like proofs like Michael O'Brien is necessarily saying you, the audience, should believe in this thing, but proofs in the sense that within the world of the play, there are things that function as evidence that the Christian message is correct. And a lot of those have to do with Lilia. So, at one point, she experiences stigmata, which, if you don't know what stigmata is, it's basically when a person experiences the wounds of Jesus on the cross. So usually the palms or the wrists bleed and the feet bleed. Sometimes the side will bleed where Jesus was supposedly pierced with the spear of Longinus. So this is stigmata. It's an incredibly rare phenomenon. There are some documented, though contested, cases of it. But within the world of the play, Lilia experiences stigmata as part of her sort of being marked out as one of the chosen of Christ. She then later is visited by Jesus, who basically tells her that she needs to go to Horvendal, who at that point is basically like tied up in the yard because he's insane. and she needs to convince him to kill Fengo. And like that's fine. Like you could be like, well, that's a hallucination, that's religious fervor, whatever it is, etc., etc. But she also, Lilia also receives from Jesus the crown of thorns to take to Horvendal to be like, look, here is my actual proof that Jesus came to me. She has an actual artifact. So that's much, much harder to deny within the world of the play. And then later on, Horvendal is sort of fleeing for almost the last time, and he is actually visited by Jesus himself, and we see the spirit of Jesus on stage. And what Jesus says is really interesting, because he says, "Mad boy Horvendal, to you the Christ must turn. Behold your cast-out Savior, mankind will never learn." Horvendal says, "What?" And Jesus says, "O Horvendal, my shining shattered angel, how you failed me, failed my path of love. O my hope child, how I tried to reach you. All is soiled now, listen to your Christ. Turn ye back, save my strangled gospel." This, by the way, is after Fengo has converted to Christianity and largely used that to strengthen his own feudal Scandinavian-style power. "Turn ye back, save my strangled gospel. Turn ye back, go mend the harm they've done. Slay thine uncle, go take thy Viking vengeance. Stop him, O poison love truth. Turn back and slay that man." So Jesus comes to Horvendal and says to him, go kill your uncle because he's fucking up Christianity. So we've got that. And that's the thing that sort of convinces Horvendal to go back and try and ultimately take his revenge on Fengo.